Your notes.
My notes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes,
We,
yes.
yes, yes.
Yes,
Your
yes.
notes.
Thanks for hopping on so late, Chanel, after working all day. That must be
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
stressful.
yeah, yeah. I know. Clearly, I'm like
You look cute.
still
I like
going.
it.
She's rocking them scrubs. It's cute.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Right.
Okay,
Oh
so
wait.
we are finishing up our book of the month for June, which is Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. And we ended part one. It was the first 12 chapters, getting to know these characters and some serial killer trysts they've been having. Um, so to start off part two, we jump ahead 4 months later. Um, this the scene starts off, picture it. It's almost like you could picture it as a scary movie. It's mid-afternoon and a creepy ass Texas farmhouse is in the distance. And you hear, what is that? Chainsaws going off.
Also, I've never seen that movie. I never will because I feel like it would terrorize me. I wouldn't sleep if I ever saw it. So, just side note, but I knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're just kind of sitting there looking. They hear this chainsaw. Someone's clearly being murdered as they're standing there because why
God.
not? Why not?
And they're
Um,
just standing in a field, though, just like having a normal conversation
yeah,
to
catching
them.
up. Yeah, they're just catching up. What I thought was funny with this scene is they literally play rock, paper, scissors to see who has to go in the front door and who goes around back to get into this farmhouse. So we start off with Sloane's point of view. She's went into this farmhouse and she goes up the stairs and it's creepy in there. They make a joke about later on that they think there's a dead stuffed possum under the chair, but it's actually Cap. But that's the vibe. They're stuffed dead animals. I
You
mean,
just tell stuff like something's gonna go bad. You know, it's
yeah.
just like bad vibe. Yeah.
So she makes it into this room and it's all these computer screens and they're clearly being monitored. Like the crazy Texas Chainsaw Massacre man who lives there is watching people and she sees Rowan walking around the house and this murderer is close to him. Like she thinks he's close now. So she runs out the door to save him and she literally gets kicked in the face by this Harvey Mead guy,
Mm-hmm.
like just straight up see stars.
Mhm.
Um, so she, when she wakes up, she's getting pulled across the lawn by this guy. She gets thrown into the basement with
That's
Like
like,
this,
down a hill.
yeah,
yeah, like some outdoor cellar type
And
thing.
yeah, and she like dislocates her shoulder.
It's pretty violent.
it's
Hmm.
brutal. It is
Ag-
brutal.
Again, this is like one of the parts of this book that like some of it's so campy and like quote unquote so comedy driven, and then it just like takes such a quick turn to violence. I feel like so.
Yeah, so we're on the violence hill, like Ashley said right now. It's not fun and campy.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's gonna get there. Don't worry. So we find out there's this girl in the cellar. Her boyfriend has been murdered by Texas Chainsaw Massacre man. Sloane is so sweet. She gives this girl her t-shirt, is trying to calm her down. Of course, Rowan shows up to save her. This cellar is literally that he's dropped her in. There's like no stairs to get out. Can you imagine how terrifying? It's
Hmm.
literally a cellar with no exit.
Mm-hmm.
So Rowan comes and pulls her out. This girl is like, "Let me out, let me out." They're like, "No, you
She was
should
annoying
stay."
me.
Really? Because I felt bad for her. Because I was like, if this was me and they just killed my boyfriend, I'm naked in the cellar. This chick comes down. They act like they're gonna help me, and then they're like, "Hey, by the way, just stay here." Like, I would be freaking out.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I feel like they were helping you. So
Yeah,
like trust them a little bit instead of like she wasn't shutting the fuck up.
I know.
Like,
Wasn't Rowan like finally just like stop or something? Just had
yeah,
to
she
make her
just kept
stop.
yeah, she just like kept yelling and yelling and yelling. They're like, you need to be quiet
They're
because
like,
he'll
"Chill."
come. Like he'll come down and then like find us. And we need like the element of surprise. It was just annoying.
They were like,
This is
chill. We do this all the time. Okay.
this is why we need Chanel in our friend group so badly, because she's the only calm one. She's the one that's like, you guys calm the fuck down. Because that would
Me
be
and
me screaming.
that's what I was gonna say. Me and Ashley relate to this. We're like, we totally get it because that would be us. Chanel's like, that girl is stupid. Like, chill
Shut
out.
up.
Uh, so they get out and they get to this barn. And of course, in the middle of them being hunted by a serial killer with a chainsaw who's totally fucked up Sloane's face and everything, the tension builds and they have their very first kiss. It was
It,
so hot.
inopportune time, but yes.
I know.
I was like, what? Again, I'm like, what is happening? They're like, I mean, it's like a full on like make out. Like for a
Oh,
minute, I thought they were gonna have sex. I'm like, this dude is still around here somewhere. This chick was screaming. He's got to be close by. You've got a boot print on your face, and you're making out with this guy. Like, what's happening?
I
she's like
know.
swinging her arm around like this to try to like touch him, like
I know. I love it.
uh so Rowan starts after this guy. Sloane wants to go with him at first, and he's like, no, you're very injured. You should stay. And she's very adamant that she wants like a piece of him. And so they make a deal. He's like, okay, you can have one eyeball because he wants this guy to see what he does to him. And I just love it because it's like Ashley said, when Sloane is getting beat up and thrown in the cellar, it's very scary and kind of, well, not kind of, it is very graphic. And then they're making out, almost having sex with her broken arm. And then it's hot and it's funny. And then she's like, by the way, I want to take at least one of his eyeballs. You can keep one in, but I'm plucking the other one out. um
Crazy.
so Harvey Mead shows up. He finally shows up. Him and Roan go out it. And then Roan has an axe, and this guy's a chainsaw. He fucks that chainsaw up with the axe. And this was also very violent. He hits him in the knee. Can you imagine? With a fucking axe. And then
No, I can't. No, I
no, I
can't.
can't. I have a quote here that I liked. When he finally has Harvey Mead like down for the count, and Sloane's like, wait, I want a piece of this. He says something like, what are you doing? Whatever. And Rowan says to him, I'm getting revenge for hurting my girl, of course. I was like, oh, yes. Murder him for me, please. So I thought this part was hilarious. She says, hold please. So then she leaves the barn. He's just chilling in there with this Texas Chainsaw Man. And she runs in the house, and Harvey Mead's stuffed dead mother is in there, which gives Bates Motel vibes too.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And she's like puppeting this dead woman on him, like, Harvey, why are you doing this?
That was
He dies of
creepy.
a heart attack.
Would you? Your dead mom crawling up your leg? I was also
Yes.
trying to picture how she was doing this, like pushing this dead corpse up this guy's body.
I
know.
imagine her just like hunched down with like her arms under this mummy's armpits, like. So that was pretty great. So after this, they're like, we gotta wrap this up because this girl somehow got out of the cellar because they heard her screaming before all this happened.
Look at Chanel's face. That would be me screaming the whole time.
Biggest eye roll. God, she couldn't fucking stay put and shut up. God.
They're like, oh, she's barefoot and only in a t-shirt. She's Winnie the Pooh in it down there, but she'll
She
find
was.
help.
She had like no panties on, nothing.
I feel so bad for this character.
I do, because obviously it's traumatic, but like, shut the fuck up.
Chanel's like, I do, but shut up.
I do, but can you be quiet about it?
So not only did they kill this asshole, but they saved that girl's life as she shrieked through the woods to find help. So they wrap that up, and Sloane's like, okay, well, she's like, let's, peace out. And she wants him to set her arm. He was like, no, you need a doctor. So this is an exciting point because they're on the way. We're gonna finally meet Rowan's other brother.
Which, by the way, did you see what Chanel posted today?
No, what was
Casey,
Yeah,
it?
it's
did
the
you see
third
it?
book.
Announce it, Chanel. Announce it because I was
Tell
freaking
me.
out when I saw
The
it.
third book, which is Fionn and Rose's book, which is Sky Then Sparrow, is coming out in February of 2025. So I'm so excited. It's their story. And
What's it
yeah.
called?
Scythe and Sparrow.
Oh.
So it's obviously him because he's a doctor, and
Mm-hmm.
then her, which I'm assuming like Sparrow is probably just like her nickname, and
Mhm.
then Scythe, which is like do you, like the sky that that's like the Grim Reaper has.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's like this is what I was thinking, like since he's a like a doctor
Oh
surgeon,
God,
he like
Doctor
kills bad people that are his patients.
Doctor
That's what I
Death.
was hoping it was. Like even when I knew that it was his book, like reading Butcher
Uh-huh.
and Blackbird, I was like, he probably like subtly kills bad patients that he has
Mm-hmm.
that are like assholes or whatever. And now that it's like official, like Sky, I'm like, he's like the freaking Grim Reaper, dude. I'm like so excited. But I
I'm
don't
so
know how
excited for the
her
books.
name is Sparrow. She's like a circus performer,
Mm-hmm.
motorcyclist. I don't know what Sparrow is for her name, but I'm so
We're
excited.
gonna find out
We're
February
gonna.
2025.
I'm super excited. So yeah.
Oh, that's
And I just
perfect.
finished. Have you finished Leather and Lark,
No,
Ashley?
I
Me. Mm-mm.
I'm 50%. What did I hit today? Like 60% through it. So I'm almost
Okay.
done with it. It's
I
I like
finished
it a
it
lot.
yesterday. It's good. I like it. It's not my favorite. Butcher and Blackbird's still my favorite,
Mhm.
but it's really good. Like it's worth a read and like it's a good sequel. So yeah.
I just think that Rose and Rowan are hard characters to top.
You mean
Sloane
Or
Sloan?
Sloan, sorry. What did I say? Rose.
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 It's because I like Rose's character a lot when we get into that. I have a quote saved for her because I just liked her from the beginning.
Yeah.
But I meant Sloan. Just those two characters I think is hard to beat. I love both of
Yeah.
them. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're good. They're
They're
good.
great.
They're good.
okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well,
Go on,
well, no, that's the
Stacy.
perfect segue because they drive to his brother. So they show up at his house and go in, and they are greeted by, we meet Rose first, and it's
Mhm.
this petite woman in the house, and she starts like, does she have a gun or a knife when they walk in?
I can't remember.
Oh, does she have a weapon? I thought it was
I
No,
thought
just
she
she
had
has
a
her
weapon,
crutch.
her
a crutch.
crutches.
Her
She
crutch.
like
That's what it is.
she like beats his ass with a crutch or something immediately.
I'm like, was it a gun? It was deadly. It was her crutch. But I instantly knew I would love Rose's character because when things kind of like settle down and she's there, she thinks that Rowan is the one who hurt Sloane, even though
Mhm.
she doesn't know them, and she was gonna fuck him up, dude.
Mhm.
Even though she has a broken leg.
Yeah.
The only reason she didn't is because poor Sloane literally has like a Carhartt logo on her forehead for where
Uh-huh.
he kicked her, and Rowan wears Converse, which just makes sense because he's so tall and so hot. Of course he wears
Yeah.
Converse. I bet they're high tops. Oh,
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I have the quote where because Rose like asked, well, then who is this guy? And Sloane, so this is Sloane says he's Rowan. Sloane says, gesturing at
Mhm.
me again. Rose narrows her eyes as though this is insignificant information. He's my friend, boy, guy, a man guy I'm here with. I snort a laugh and Rose's face scrunches. Man guy echo, real smooth Blackbird. I just
Mhm.
thought it was so cute. But it's better when you listen to the
Mhm.
audiobook because it's like an Irish accent when he's like real smooth Rose, but it's still good. Or real smooth Blackbird.
Yeah, it was their whole interaction was so hilarious, and it was a good palate cleanser from all the traumatic terror that was happening the chapter before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that is
Fiona's a
true.
little
Yeah.
shit.
Oh my
Fiona is a little
God.
shit, isn't
About
he?
are you
He,
gonna
Go ahead, do it, do
oh,
it.
speaking of
no,
shit.
yeah, I was like, are you gonna talk about how Rose finally trusts Rowan?
No, I
Like,
want you to say it.
well, so Rose calls Fionn and he asked makes Rowan say what his childhood childhood nickname was. Like, ask what it is in front of Rose and Sloan. And it's so funny because it was shit flicker. Right? That's what it was. It was so
And
funny.
they were like, and whose
So
shit
bad.
were you flicking? Your own? Someone else's? Like, which one is better?
So freaking funny.
It was
So
hilarious.
embarrassing. Well,
Uh,
not to, this isn't a spoiler. It's just something to look forward to. And I don't know if you've gotten to it yet, but like in Leather and Lark, there comes a time where Fionn gets like his comeuppance, and he has like a scene where he gets made fun of really bad. So yeah, because I'm like, for being the like shitty little brother that makes fun of everyone, there's like a really good scene where he's like, don't tell Rowan, where he gets like super embarrassed and stuff. So I was like, good, because you're just a little asshole that makes fun of everyone. So yeah. Anyway, I was cracking up at that scene and cracking up at this other one, like I said, in Leather and Lark.
So good.
well,
I
good,
love
because he needs it after that scene.
the brothers are so great. Their relationship, I love it. It's so freaking funny.
So then Fionn finally shows up. They, like Ashley said, they do their little snarky, funny banter, and then he gets going to fix up Sloan. And this is another reason I found Rose's character so interesting. We get kind of like a peek at her personality. She's doing like she's doing a tarot card reading at the table, and Rowan's in there with her, and she was like, "Do you want a reading?" And he was like, "No." And then she just mentions to him about a game, like a deadly game. And so he gets intrigued. I didn't write down all the cards, but she pulls cards that speak to him and Blackbird's relationship a lot. I remember the biggest one was the tower, and how it's strong, but if the foundation's weak and like lightning hits it, it could bring it all down. And it was just a really interesting scene, kind of like foreshadowing, um because even he says in his head, like, maybe the big lightning bolt that could bring it down hasn't even happened yet. So kind of like foreshadowing the big climax at the end that's going to happen. And then the next two chapters are so spicy. They're so spicy. So we finally get into the tension's been building for half the book. I have the first quote that starts this off, and I loved it. After she gets fixed up, she's still filthy from rolling around in Texas or whatever. So he's helping her in the bath, and he says at one point, "You're trembling, little bird." And I was like, here we go. Here we go.
It always starts with a bath. I swear to God.
And there's only one bed that comes up. So,
oh yeah, because Rose even makes the statement to Rowan is like, well, you're in luck because I'm here and in the guest bedroom, so you guys have to share a room.
One bed.
That's how you know you like Rose from the beginning. She's here for the one bed trope too.
We love a one bed trope. So the first thing he notices when she is in the bath is that she has piercings. Well, she has nipple piercings, which we kind of already knew. And then he starts feeling below the water, and she has other piercings. And so that kind of starts us off. He wants to like see them. It's so good. I just recommend everyone read these chapters. Like, we don't have to deep dive into it, obviously. But it's just, the writing is very, very, very good.
Well, are you going to talk about some of the piercings? You did all this research.
Oh, yeah. So she has labial piercings with no big deal, but then she had a fourchette piercing, and I had
what is that?
I didn't know what it was. So I'm Googling it.
Stacy did research.
I'm Googling it next to Theo. The first thing that shows up is Wikipedia with a photo.
Well, that's what did you expect when you Googled it?
I know. He wasn't even surprised. He was just like, what are you doing?
This is normal. No big
So
deal.
it's a piercing between, it's like the skin between your, I want to say it without sounding stupid, between like your vagina and your butthole. But then I looked it up, and first of all, do you know that genital piercings are actually heal very nicely. I guess did a lot of research to this online, and they have good healing down there, I guess, for some reason. But anyway,
Oh, really? I wouldn't
yeah,
think that.
seriously, you wouldn't, because
Yeah.
especially with this fourchette piercing, I guess it, from what it said online, is that not all women can
On
get it
Wikipedia.
on Wikipedia, which is never wrong.
Never.
First of all, not everyone can get it because you have to have a certain amount of space and skin there for it to work. And obviously not everyone's anatomy is the same, whatever. So that the small percentage of people who can get it, it's strange because I thought the same thing. Like that area gets not the cleanest, can be sweaty, whatever. But I guess the healing rate is really good for some reason. So if you're able to get it, it doesn't hurt and it heals really nicely. So she has it. You're welcome. That's your Wikipedia.
Is it just like a bar or something, or
the picture I saw? It was like a little bar stud thing. Yeah, just down there.
I'm just gonna Google it later. I have so many
Yeah.
questions. I don't know why I didn't look it
Mhm.
up when I was reading it. I guess I was waiting for Stacy to explain it to everybody.
Right.
It can be pleasurable for some people. Yeah. So there you go. So there you go.
Now you know.
Now you know.
The more you know.
The more you know. So then they go at it for like 2 chapters. It's after he sees her piercings. They go at it. It's pretty great. And then I have another.
I just loved it because it was a lot of praise kink.
Yes.
He was praising her all over the place. I was like, here for it with that accent.
Mm-hmm. See, this is why I should have listened to it instead of reading it.
You should have.
The only thing that I thought was cringy is that everybody could hear them. Is that weird? That like his brother and Rose could hear them. Like they acted like
then in the morning she's like apologizing to Rose, like, sorry, I'm sorry you were. I'm like, well,
like they were loud.
Yeah.
Like they make it seem like they were so loud. That's the only thing that I thought was super cringy. I was just like,
I'm like, you're in your brother's house.
And you just fixed your girlfriend up.
Right. And
Go
like
free.
he has like a friends with benefits relationship going. He's like, in his own little thing. We don't even know yet. I'm like, this is awkward as fuck. Like, just wait till you go home. You can't wait a day. Like, just go home. Also, your arm is like still healing. Okay, just like hold up a second. Give it a day.
That's the other thing. Is like some of these positions don't seem doable with a broken shoulder. That's all I'm saying. She must be doing a lot of yoga.
Also, you still have a boot print. I'm pretty sure that's not attractive on your face right now.
Staring at it.
I'm pretty sure that's why he turned you over onto your stomach. You didn't want to see that boot print.
That boot print. So, but yes, the smuttiness is great. It's just
it seemed a little unrealistic.
I could not get over how loud they were with other people being in the home. Could not get over it. It was so bizarre to me.
Yeah, I know. That was a little weird. She's like over waffles the next day. She's like, sorry.
And Rose is like, no big deal. I can sleep through anything. I was like, yeah, but how? Like, how did you sleep through this?
I would have been throwing shoes at the wall. I'm not kidding. Shut the fuck up.
I mean, I have an eye mask with headphones in it that I could like pop on my fan app and probably be fine. But like, I would be annoyed the next morning for sure. Chanel's note.
A little awkward. It just would have been a little awkward because I would have been like, dude, I'm trying to get it on with your brother and this isn't making it any better.
It's just funny because in the morning when she apologizes, whatever, even Fionn says, you couldn't wait.
Yeah.
He's like, you couldn't wait. He's got the baggy eyes. He's so pissed.
Nobody was sleeping that night.
Right. Especially because he's also like, you're hurt. No more. He literally, I think he also says like, no more exercise. Like itchy, quote unquote. Okay. All right.
No more exercise. Whatever. Well, speaking of the boot in her face, though, one of the quotes I liked after he's done praising her in between some of their exercise, Rowan says, "You're all the best things to me, Sloane, no matter how many bruises in your heart or on your skin." He literally is the perfect man in this me in this book.
That was supposed to be sweet, but I was thinking of her face.
Chanel can't get over the boot print on her face.
I know.
She probably had a concussion. That's all I kept thinking about. If she got kicked that hard in the face that for real, there's a boot print like that on it, she has to have a concussion. She probably needs
Yeah.
a CT scan.
Mhm.
Well, it's a good thing he kept her up all night.
Jesus. Okay, Stacy.
He kept her up all night. Yeah, not doing that.
Okay.
Oh, God.
I need you guys to tell me if I'm just old now or it's because I have children and I'm just exhausted in my soul. But they go through like 2 chapters of high intensity exercise that I was tired just imagining and reading. You know what I mean? And then towards the end of it, as they're laying there, he goes, an appetizer, and now it's time for the fucking feast. I'm tired, sir. What do you mean this was the start?
Dinner's
I thought we
over.
were finished.
Dinner's over. I need the early bird special, please.
Mama needs a nap.
Oh yeah,
Like,
he
I
did
thought we
say
were
that.
calling Uber. Go.
Literally,
I want the
read that at end.
Netflix no chill, please.
Wake
been,
me
like,
up.
Sweating, reading this chapter. I'm like, it's time for bed. And then he's like, time for the feast. And I was like, Jesus
You're like, that was
H.
just the amuse
Christ.
bouche.
Boosh.
Is that a
We were
London
rolling
joke? Because I'm going to
past
lose
you.
it.
No, it's not a London joke. Stacy.
You're like, I thought we were heading into dessert and finishing up this baby.
I thought it was for like time for coffee and dessert.
Because we're old. We're like, nobody's got time for this. I need my 8 hours. Okay. This isn't falling into my schedule.
You should have been like, hey, roll me over onto my boot print face and then tell me when you're finished, buddy.
Please don't
No
disturb
joke. Oh, I forgot to mention one of the sweetest parts to when they're naked together or whatever. He has a Blackbird tattoo that she's not seen. He's not told her about. I totally spaced. Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
me. That's her drawing that she left at the restaurant.
Mhm.
Which, if it would have been anybody else, this would have been creepy. But because
Yeah.
they love each other, it's fine.
Can you imagine a man that you had just kissed for the first time the day before you finally get naked with and he has the tattoo on his body that you've drawn? And I mean,
like,
it's beautiful for this, but
yeah, because like they'd been friends and like leading up to this, obviously. Yeah.
and they also talk a little bit too. And Rowan asks, I thought this was a good part. It circles back to their first kill back in West Virginia. And Rowan asks her, were you going to leave when I was calling for you after I killed the creepy man? And she admitted it. She's like, I thought about it. And then came back. And then she finally asked him what he said right before he killed that guy. And he's like, well, I told him you were mine. And I was like, love it. Love, love, love it. So then we'll just jump forward a little bit. So they finally, their relationship has obviously been heading this way, all the tension, the building up. They finally admit their feelings. They have 2 very intense chapters of amazing sex. And then Sloane decides she's going to move to Boston. Well, basically, Rowan tells her, you're coming home. And she was like, oh, to Raleigh or whatever. And he's like, no, to Boston, which I thought was so cute. And Lark, being the most amazing friend she is, tags along with her to help her get settled and such. And this part comes in later, but I know in our previous episode, we talked about toxic tropes, and there's like a hint that Sloane is a stalker because Lark knows her feelings are serious about Rowan because Sloane has put in her own security camera in the new kitchen at the new restaurant. And that's how Lark knows it's serious because she's like, oh, you're doing some light stalking, I see. And then this part's really, really cute. So they are living together. It just kind of talks really briefly, touches on that Rowan really appreciates her because he's obviously super busy opening the second restaurant. He's not around a lot. He feels bad. But Sloane is such an independent and private person. It works for them. So they're very happy. He takes her to the new restaurant so she can see it. And it's called Butcher and Blackbird.
So cute.
It is so cute.
Yes.
And so they get to go into the new restaurant, and the aesthetic in there is very perfect for their personalities. And then they finally get to make dinner together in person and not over the phone.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it's really hot, obviously. It's another feast, if you will.
Both food and sex.
Uh-huh.
Both food and sex. And then in the restaurant, because the big thing in this book, which I don't know if we talked about in the first part, but Rowan says a lot to her, "You'll love me someday." Like even in their first encounter, I'm pretty sure he says it. It's very sweet. And so when they're at this new restaurant, he says, "You'll love me someday." And she doesn't say this out loud, but in her head, and one of my steps falters. Today is that day. And so she's thinking that. I'm pretty sure she's either, I don't think she says it out loud. Yeah, she's thinking it. Today is that day.
No,
So I thought
yeah,
that was real.
because she doesn't say it then. She doesn't say that.
Yeah, she's
She
just
says
thinking
it
it.
later on.
So it's just, this is the really sweet, sweet moments. There's another one coming up too. So you just know in this book when there's sweet moments like this,
Yes. Something terrible is going to
something's
happen.
I know.
something's
You
building.
literally-
What do they
I
call it?
feel
The third act breakup or something? Like,
Yes. the
Well,
third-
yeah, but it wasn't that.
you know, it's
It was
coming.
worse than that.
So it's another cute little part. So the restaurant has its opening night. It's super busy. Rowan's really nervous because Sloane is a little late. We find out later that, of course, this part was cute. She blames it on Lark and Lachlan because she says, I think they hooked up, which is really weird because they're acting like they hate each other. And I thought that was very cute.
But you
So he
find
does,
out why.
Yeah,
what
you
really
find out
happened.
why.
is it good?
I mean, I think their
It's-
story's good, but
Yeah,
Okay.
no, their story's good, but it's not. I kept thinking, oh, because obviously you know this,
Mhm.
right? Like why but it's not what you think it is.
yeah.
They didn't hook up. Okay, that's what
Yeah.
they didn't hook
Oh,
up.
they didn't hook
but
up.
there's like
No.
a backstory, obviously, of like
Mhm.
what actually happened. But anyway,
I can't
spoiler
wait to
alert.
get caught up in my life so I can talk to it about you guys. Talk to it with you guys.
Yeah. There's a lot more in depth of the reason of why they were late and what actually happened.
Stacey, you'll
And
get caught up when you go back to work. I was talking to Ashley about it today
Mhm.
because I saw her and I was talking about all these books that you need to read. And Ashley was like, I'm sure she'll get caught back up when she gets like some non-kid time at work or something. I was like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
anyone who's listening or can relate, I don't even know how, but when you have children, you can't focus on, like, my mind is like gone half the time. If Ashley didn't send me the recording schedule and our linked Google planner thing, I would have no idea half the time what I'm doing with anything.
Yeah, Stacey was so funny when I sent her for this one. I was like, because originally we were recording Saturday and Sunday. She's like, we're recording both days on the weekend.
Mhm.
I was like, well, as of right now, yeah.
I was like, oh, I don't even know
Okay.
what day it is sometimes, day of the week. It's like Groundhog's Day over here. Just
Just
Same
wake
thing
up,
over and
do
over.
it again.
so opening night goes really well. Sloane shows up. He does this really beautiful toast, thanking his
Mhm.
family, friends. He thanks her. It's all perfect. So I knew it was going to come crashing down. Like I had the feels. I will say, I don't know if you guys figured it out. I was surprised about who
I knew something was gonna happen. Like I was like,
Yeah.
it's something bad is about to happen. I knew the timing of it. I was like, I'm waiting, but I didn't know what it was.
I didn't either.
Mm-mm.
I didn't see it coming. I guess I just didn't even, I don't know what I was thinking was going to happen, but it wasn't this. So
Yeah. It's a good twist. So
It
with the
was.
twist, what the twist is, Rowan's back. He's alone in the kitchen at the new restaurant, and someone puts a gun to the back of his head, and we find out it's David, the guy we thought had a effing lobotomy from the cannibal Thorsten, or
Which
however
he
you say his
didn't,
name.
right?
His like
He-
little worker.
No.
guy.
Yeah.
he faked it, right? He didn't have
Yeah.
a
So
But he was
Dave,
still eating that fucking ice cream, so he didn't fake that.
Yeah, and he was
no,
So
eating all the meat
that's the
too.
real twist.
He was eating
It's
all the meat too.
yeah, he
Remember?
was
He
eating the meat.
had sausages in his mouth and
Yeah.
stuff.
So
Like
that's the real twist. You know
that
what I
is a
mean?
real
Is that
twist.
it
he
is.
he faked a lot lobotomy. He didn't fake eating that shit. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
At least Rowan was drugged.
Some people like a little semen in their ice cream, like
Nah,
just a sprinkle in there.
And their
Chanel.
cookies and cream.
Yeah,
yeah, it makes it extra creamy.
Makes
extra
it-
creamy.
Oh God, okay.
So David is actually the South Bay slasher, we find out. So the whole reason he was even at that Thurston's guy house is he sought him out and he agreed to play his servant because there was going to be two people coming to the dinner and he actually liked eating people like Thurston did. He would also like to be a cannibal clearly after he ate all that effing
Mhm.
ice cream.
And
So
he knew. It sounds like these serial killers know about Rowan and Sloan because he
mhm,
mentions that he knew that like once a year these serial killers were coming up like murdered. So right, like
mhm.
he was freaked out about it or something.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he admired Sloan
Yeah.
specifically.
Well,
Well,
it's because
sorry, I kind
Sloane's
of
got
skipped
that
ahead. Sorry.
finesse, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's got the finesse. Well, no, but you're right though. He has definitely, and then we find out in the same turn, Sloane had actually been tracking him too, like looking
Mhm.
for. She didn't obviously know it was David, but she had been
Mhm.
looking for the South Bay slasher. So he gets Rowan, captures him, and Sloane shows up at the restaurant, and he's like, "Get rid of her, or I'll kill her."
Mhm.
Basically, like right in front of you.
I have an
Go
issue with this. I
go
mean, you
ahead.
go, I just want you to know I have a
No,
whole issue with this
go ahead. I
scene.
was gonna say
I knew you were. I knew you
yeah.
were because not in this type of situation, but I know you hate
Mhm.
when like couples, like a guy breaks up with a girl
I hate it.
when he forces the breakup without her permission or
Uh-huh.
like
Mhm.
forces the breakup on her without
Mhm.
like is that how you say it? Without her permission or I mean
Yeah,
obviously
like
I don't know
yeah.
how to say it. Like obviously if someone wants to break up with you like
Like he's like I mean, this is a little different, but like when they make the decision for
for
them
them
Mhm.
instead
yeah
of letting that like I know what's best for you type situation. I
yeah
just
yeah
think it's
that
crazy.
kind of thing but like in this case it was because he was being threatened.
But this is my issue with this whole scene is that one,
Okay.
I think he was out of control. Like he did
Who?
not need Rowan. He did not need to be this harsh about it.
Yeah
All this
yeah
David guy said was
yeah
get rid of her. I was like, why wasn't Rowan just like, hey, something came up, go to the apartment or like whatever. This guy wasn't like break up with her, or break her heart, blah blah blah. Like, what is Rowan doing? I was so
yeah.
annoyed when I read this.
I know
I
and
was so annoyed.
he went super
He went
like
hard.
hard like
Yes.
deep he was like what did he say he was like you're not like worthy or something he was
Yes.
like
Called her like a psycho,
yeah
Well,
like
said she
you'll
was
never
too
you're not
unlovable.
lovable like he went like super right
Seriously,
to the core.
this
too
guy was
broken, too broken.
too broken.
I was like oh.
This this guy didn't say break up with her and break her heart. He literally just said get rid of her. So like, why was Rowan's first saying I'm gonna be a fucking asshole and just rip her heart to shreds? Like, just tell her to go home. Like, you forgot you need to do something. Like, oh, can you grab this at home? Like, I don't know. I just like,
Could you go feed Winston, please? He's
It
yeah,
had to
starving.
be so dramatic that's why.
like I know this story called for it, but I was just like, oh my God.
I know but it was had to be dramatic but I also was like oh God I hate this I hated it
Mhm.
but I loved it.
Uh-huh.
Hate but love.
I was rolling my eyes the whole time he was
You were
giving his
like,
little speech.
did
I was
he
like,
have
this
to
son of a
cut so
bitch.
deep?
Yeah, like unlovable. Are you kidding me?
She's
He
gonna
was
need
basically
therapy.
he was basically like, it's you, not me.
Yeah.
So
And I'm only saying this because there's a gun.
just these men. Like
I know. Oh God. What do the all the other men in the world, they don't even have the excuse of the gun. They just
No.
they just do it. I was watching Vanderpump Rules, and Katie from it is just like my spirit animal lately. And she was doing a confessional, and she's like, it's like what she goes, it's like charity to have sex with these men. She's like, why? So they cannot text me back. Cool. Like it's so funny. It's charity to have sex with these men. I was dying. Why? So they cannot text me back. I was like, yeah.
Scum. Total
Do you know?
scum.
Do you know what I was thinking? You know what I thought in my head, the meme today when I was thinking over my notes in this part, I was just imagining Sloan going, well, this is going to really mess up the tour.
I love tour.
This Justin
JT.
Timberlake thing is killing me. The memes
It's out of
coming
it's out
it.
of control. It's out of control.
Do you think he's really depressed right now? Just
He is, but Jessica Biel isn't. She's
God.
laughing it up in
Mhm.
her job in New York.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that his tour isn't even selling very well right now. That like,
Well, have you heard we're gonna have to pause on this book real quick. Did you hear
we
the
gotta talk about
conspiracy?
Justin Timberlake.
Did you hear about the conspiracy theory with it? That because now he's going to rehab and stuff, right? Because all this happened. And he's like, oh, I'm depressed and have a problem. So now he's going to rehab. Because he's going to rehab, he can cancel his tour and it's covered under insurance and everyone gets their money back. But I guess the big thing was his tour was selling like shit. Like he was losing money. It was terrible. And so now everyone's like, wouldn't it be weird if someone's tour was completely tanking and everyone was making fun of him? Then suddenly he gets a DUI and can say he has to go to rehab, which is in his contract that he can get out of this whole tour and get people's money back and get their money back through the insurance.
Dang.
That's crazy. Also,
tour.
he looked terrible in this mugshot. Did you see his eyes? He looked high as a kite. Like I don't even know if he was drunk. He just looked so high. I want to see the body cam footage so badly of this 22-year-old kid being like, "What world tour?"
I know. The
Sure,
best
sir,
was,
sure.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The best was the headline when it was like Trolls star Justin Timberlake. Trolls. That's all he's known for is trolls.
Trolls. That movie, speaking of like Trolls, I like that movie. I see why kids like it. But when I first watched it, I thought it was really disturbing. That like these
Ashley didn't
it.
like it. I made her watch it with me and Toby, and she did not like it at first.
Never seen it.
It's
Never
really
seen
disturbing. It opens up with these like, what are they called, Stacy? Gorgons?
No,
right?
No, it's
not the gray ones. What are they called?
The Bergens.
Bergens or whatever. They eat trolls. They eat these little things. We're letting children watch this.
Actually,
cannibalism.
I love the Trolls movie.
It all circles back. Cannibalism.
Speaking of,
circle back around.
Circle back around to this book. This stupid breakup scene, so freaking annoying.
So we have the third act breakup, but in his
Sloane's on the scene now.
Yeah, because even though he broke up with her in a very intense, unnecessary way, he drops clues. He keeps saying like weird dates. And it's not until she's telling Lark about it later that she's like, oh, he was saying weird days like April 10th through the whatever, but we weren't at the gala in April. That was in March. And so then because Sloane's so smart, it hits in her head. She's like, oh my God, that's the date of the ice cream container from the semen ice cream from Thorsten's. So she figures it out. She's like, oh, he's trying to tell me something. So she's back on the scene, like Chanel said. And she is talking to David, and this is where we find out she had been looking for him too.
Oh yeah, because the cameras. Because you're right. She's like, yeah, something. You're like, something's weird with those dates. So she checks the cameras that she had stalkerish put in there. She sees David tying up Rowan, and then she's like, I gotta get back there. So she sprints back there, and then obviously catches David.
Also, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying he was hacking up Rowan.
Yeah.
Side note,
have you ever had a mandolin? Have you ever?
God.
Have you? I'm scared to use a mandolin.
I haven't used it.
It like chops vegetables. It's like a slicer, and then he was using it to peel away his skin on his arm,
and then just ate it in front of him.
My baby.
my baby. We have to point out real fast though, like when Sloane's back at the apartment, she goes through this like whole breakup montage real fast. Like she's sobbing with the cat in her lap, crying.
She like takes a shower.
Does a full face of makeup, put freaking eyelashes on, like she looks
I
hot.
know, she like packs up all of her stuff.
It's like this whole like up and
And
down.
his arms
emotion.
just getting chopped off. Just getting sliced.
I love it though. So because now when she shows up, she's gonna look amazing. Just amazing.
In my head, while she's getting in the shower and doing all this stuff, she's listening to Taylor Swift, the one full glass of wine. She
could die.
And then when she's putting her makeup on,
like
she
10 blocks.
Yeah. And that's when she's listening to Reputation, when she's splints, running in her heels.
Yeah, sweaty and shiny.
God.
So this David guy, it comes out, he never had a lobotomy. That was just his thing to get out of, them figuring it out. And then Sloane's too nice. And then he gets to tag along to Rowan's restaurant. And so she's talking to David, and just by talking to him, she gets her revenge and like shit talks Rowan basically in front of David to
I liked it.
Disarm him, emotionally from the situation.
He's like, what the fuck? He's like tied up, bleeding.
She should have done it harder. So that's how I felt about it. Anyways,
I knew Ashley would love
a literal
it.
punching bag right here.
Literally,
this like he's bleeding. I'm like, do it harder.
Right.
He's watching this man eat his flesh in front of him, and Ashley's like, Sloane could be meaner to him.
She could be meaner. I would say meaner things. More mean things.
The Irish potato.
He goes to give David the gun to be like, oh, you don't need to worry about me. And when he goes to take the gun, she stabs him with a scalpel because she prefers to work with knives and scalpels, and she likes to take her time. You know what I mean?
She's amazing.
Yeah. She
brought a knife
badass
to a gunfight. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, that's how it goes. But in a good way this time.
That's also Taylor Swift, so love it.
Yeah, she definitely came up with that.
She came up with that, Stacy. She's the first one that said it.
It's like that Michael Scott quote on the dry erase board.
Oh God!
And it says like
Wayne Gretzky,
Michael Scott,
and Michael Scott.
You like miss all the shots you don't take or something like that. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
So she's so pissed at him, obviously, how could she not be? And so she's untying him, and he's dead now, David. And so she's rescuing Rowan, she kills David because she's amazing. And Rowan's trying to talk to her, and he keeps saying Blackbird, and she's not responding. And so he keeps saying it. Sloane, she doesn't move. Sloane, love. No. Blackbird, still nothing. Then he calls her Peaches. And she says, I will stab you.
He's like, don't try out this new name.
Peaches.
So they obviously make up, you know what I mean? They talk it out. And what I think is funny is when we're, heading towards the conclusion, they've killed this really creepy cannibal bad guy, and everything's kind of come full circle. And they're talking about their game, like the game of them killing people and stuff. And I like this because Rowan earlier didn't like the idea of them doing the competition anymore because he was worried about her getting hurt from Texas. And Rowan says, that's fair. That's 3 for me. Best of 5. They're talking about like how many kills they each have. And Rowan says, deserves, totally. And then Sloane says, and I'm still very angry with it. And I'm still very angry with you. And Rowan says, I get it, love. But I just thought it was funny that even though she's so pissed at him, they're still arguing about their numbers for this game and who technically won. And basically he's telling her she can take the win because of everything that's happened.
She's amazing.
Yes.
True.
So after this happens, obviously she's going to stay in Boston. They didn't break up or anything after this. It all comes out, the full circle. I thought this was really probably one of my favorite parts in the second part for sure, because I don't know if we mentioned at the beginning, she's obviously an artist with her webs she sets up, but she doesn't use color for anything. She doesn't do any of her drawings in color, nothing. Like the drawing she left for Rowan at the restaurant was obviously done with a pen and a napkin. But she does black and white. So where David has eaten his flesh off in his arm, he's going to get a tattoo to cover up the scar. And he hasn't seen it, but Sloan has worked with the tattoo artist to come up with a design to do on his arm. And when it's finally revealed to Rowan, it's obviously a blackbird. It's holding a knife, but in the nice reflection, it's like this watercolor, beautiful, colorful painting in there. And so I just love it because a quote that goes with it. This is at the tattoo parlor. Rowan says, "You did color," he whispers, but he still doesn't let go. I smile in Rowan's arms. What can I say, Butcher? I guess you brought it out in me. It was really sweet.
Yeah, super sweet.
And then then comes really great part. They're murdering someone together, as all serial killer couples should. And we have the most romantic proposal of all time that happens.
Oh God.
No.
So they're killing this guy, and Rowan mentions that one of the eye sockets looks like she's gouged it out, and it pisses her off because she always says, I pluck the eyeballs out.
Like a lady, delicately.
Like a lady. So she goes into this man's, just like describing this out loud makes me laugh in my head for some reason, like picturing it. He has wrapped in this eye. She pulls it out and unwraps it. It's the first on the napkin from the restaurant that they had in Louisiana when
I knew it was gonna come back around. Anyway, good.
No, I did too. It's I forget exactly what it says, but it's their annual competition that they wrote out on this napkin.
That they wrote for the competition. Yeah.
It's so sweet. And then also back there is an engagement ring, and that's how he proposes, is by an engagement ring in this dead man's vacant eye socket.
Sloane's even like, did you just propose with a napkin and an eye socket to me? And he's like, yeah. He's so excited about it. She loves it.
He is such a golden retriever boyfriend. He's like just so happy. He's like, don't you, this is so sweet. I've thought all this out for you.
Love it. I love
so
it.
That was cute. Yeah. And the final line before you get to the epilogue, which I loved, Rowan says, but if we're monsters, we'll thrive in the dark together. That's really sweet. It. And then the epilogue sets up for Leather and Lark, and it sets up with this, it's called Phantom, and it's from the point of view of this man, and it's him in the situation where he's basically doing kind of like a prayer, very religious theme thing in his head, and basically at the end he wants to kill Rowan's brother because Rowan killed someone important to him.
Is it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy? Is it his brother? Or do we not know?
No spoilers. We don't know.
That's what I'm asking. I don't know.
Yeah, you
so
don't
it's
know.
not clear.
It's like ambiguous. You don't know.
Because like after I read it, I was like, I can't tell. Is this supposed to be like the last guy that they killed, and I just like missed something here?
You don't know.
And
even like going into Leather and Lark, you're still, because you kind of get that guy's point of view again. I don't know if you've gotten it yet.
A little bit, yeah, but still, like, it's not clear. And I was like, did I miss something? And did I miss something in Butcher and Blackbird? Am I supposed to know who this guy is?
No,
no,
I don't think so. You don't really know. I feel like until like maybe 3/4 of the way into the book.
It literally just says, yeah, Rowan Kane took my brother and I vow to take his. And then that is the conclusion of Butcher and Blackbird. Nice.
Stacy, what's your spice and story rating?
The spice, I know I always joke around that I hate when people say, because I know the scale's out of 10 or out of 5. Someone said, oh, it's a 10 out of 5. But literally one of my biggest pet peeves, and it must be just working as a healthcare person, but when you ask them like their pain scale to 10 and they're like, it's 20. And I'm like, I will literally kill you. Is that what you want?
And she'll kill
And
you.
I
Yeah, but
will.
like you actually read like spicy, smutty
Yeah.
stories. So like I feel like you have a good judgment at
Mhm.
least.
So I gave, honestly, it's 5s all around. The spice is a 500%. It's so there. And I feel like with a lot of books, it's hard to balance. I feel like with
Mhm,
the spice in the story, because a lot of the times we get plot without porn
mhm.
or porn without plot when the smut is to a certain level. So
I
I
mean,
was,
I
no, go ahead.
I know we've talked about this before, like I can't read a story that's straight, like in romances, that's straight like
Hmm.
porn. But then also if it's gonna be romance, you still need like a little bit of smut.
Hmm.
You need some good
Hmm.
sexual tension. And like you said, I feel like this was a really good balance because
Hmm.
it wasn't instant love and it was a nice good gradual build up and when it was there, it wasn't like so overwhelming that you're like, okay, like the plot just kind of fell off after
Hmm.
like there was still obviously a good twist and a good happy
Hmm.
ending and um that's why I 5-starred this book. I loved it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I agree.
I agree with you. And you, Ashley, what do you give it? What's your
Yeah.
rating?
Okay, well, I was just thinking, I have this. I mean, I think it's a 5 out of 5, but I don't think I'm a good person to ask. And this is why I would never be a good like book rater because I have this app that tracks all the books that I'm reading because I'm trying to be better about it. And after you finish a book, you can rate it.
Hmm.
So I've read so far, I think 10 books this year or something. And I was looking at it, I rated every book 5 out of 5 stars. Every single book.
You are terrible. No,
So
it's not.
like I mean, besides like the only one I
You
didn't was a book that I didn't finish. So I didn't even rate that one because it just like was unfinished, like unreadable, like not unreadable, just it
Mm-mm.
did not finish. Um, but I rated every book that I read 5 out of 5 stars. So
maybe
like
you
who
just
am I?
like them all.
I did. I
Yeah.
loved all of them. I've read great
Yeah,
books this year. So
yeah.
Maybe
So
you're
maybe
just a
that was
good
it.
picker of books.
oh yeah, that's what it is.
Maybe that's what it is.
Ooh,
Hmm.
feel better about it now. It's like, man, I'm just giving everything a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, you just
But
gotta pick.
this book is a 5 out of 5 though.
Hmm.
It's different than what you would typically find in a romance book.
Hmm.
It's funny, it's
It's
smutty.
fresh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
There's
checked all my boxes. Cannibalism, plot, four-shut piercing,
eyeballs.
eyeballs, semen ice cream, very
Jesus.
hot sexual tension.
Yeah, these are the
Irishman.
boxes I read.
Irishman was the top of the list. I should have said that first.
Oh my
You
gosh.
guys want to do some kudos?
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
Who wants to
Yeah.
start?
We're like, heck yeah, silence.
I know.
Silence.
You guys go.
Well, my kudos mainly is for Chanel tonight because she worked all
Mhm.
freaking day and I was off today. And then you're recording, which is fun, but still, like after working all day, it's just a busy day. And
Yeah, you've done that before. I know. So
it's
you know
just,
what it's
it's
like.
rough.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And
You
you
know what
still
it's like.
brought the energy and you look
Mhm.
amazing. So I just love you. And Stacy, for your recording with kids, because I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do life. So
I don't know how I do life either. I think
so
that every day.
So really just for the two of you just like doing the most today as I like kind of did nothing and then recorded. I felt guilty. I was like, I can do whatever works for you guys because I'm just hanging out today. Whatever you
Chanel's,
need.
Chanel's like, I have work. I was like, I got to get this feral 2-year-old down before we go.
Well, my kudos is both of you guys because I always just appreciate you and you always make my day and um, yeah, you made my day a lot better because it was a long day. So it was just good to see your faces and talk to you. So I love you both. Thank
I
you.
love you.
Oh, you guys are, this is just the day for it because I was going to say you guys are my kudos too. I've been looking forward to talking to you guys about the end of this book since I finished it like 2 weeks ago. So
Oh, yay.
I
Yay.
love it. And I know life is crazy busy right now for everyone. So I
Mhm.
love that we can all three make time to still be together and talk about the craziness and bring the energy, bring the hot takes, if you will.
I'm just so glad you guys liked this book because I mean, I knew you would, I had a feeling you would, but like still, when you give someone a book,
Hmm.
you're like, well, I hope they like it because that's their present.
all I could picture just real quick when I was reading the second part of this, especially the first time that they have sex, is I had
Me?
my aunt. Well, I thought about you,
I'm just
obviously,
kidding.
Obviously.
but I had my aunt listen to this, remember? And she was way ahead of me. And I just remember she was saying that it was really intense. And I remember laughing, thinking, oh, whatever. And then I was reading and I was like, my poor aunt was probably like, what the fuck do these girls read?
This is, yeah, I feel like this was smutty compared to the books that we read, but like
Hmm.
this, this obviously was like pre-approved, like editor approved and stuff. Like
Hmm.
she doesn't know any of the fanfics
Yeah.
we read. I was like, or any of the stuff on Tumblr. I'm like,
She
Mhm.
must have liked it though, because I told her the second one's out and she got excited about it. She was gonna
Mhm.
buy it. So to
Yeah.
listen
So
to it. Yeah.
well,
shout out to her Aunt Joe because
I'm
She's
like,
listening
well,
to it.
she's
tell
listening to it.
can you give her a warning about the second one though? Because I feel like the scenes are a little bit spicier in the second one. Like
I can't wait to read it.
there's a lot of anal play. So I don't know if she's okay
I'm
with
just
that.
not super excited about that. I don't
Who?
know. I'm
You
not
aren't?
super excited about it, but
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, I mean, there's like regular sex, but like, I'm just saying, like,
he's an ass man.
He's an
he's
ass
an
man.
ass man. So, like, for both of them, there's anal play. Like, so I'm just saying, warning for people who haven't read Leather and Mark. So it's a different kind of sex, different kind of
Yeah.
sex.
Mhm.
So tell your aunt that in case
We'll
she,
give her a heads up.
Yeah, I'll tell her.
be like, Aunt Joe, how do you feel about anal?
Oh God, please ask her and then tell
I'm
me
just
what
gonna
she
ask her
says.
just like that. So what's
Just
your hot
text
take?
her.
What's your hot take on anal?
Just
Need to know.
send her a peach emoji.
And a cucumber or eggplant.
What's so funny? She probably wouldn't even be like caught off guard. She'd probably have some real snappy response to come
Just
back to it.
send her a peach and an eggplant. She'll be like, "Ooh, you're eating real healthy."
Peaches.
Like you're having the summer cookout.
Well, on that note, ladies.
Yeah, Stacy would have lead
on
us out.
yeah. On that note, everyone, because we do it. Make sure that you read what you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.